Thanks, Google, for interrupting my video. Okay, so that's that. So yeah, you always hear horror stories about people walking along the edge of the water, and a riptide comes along and pulls them out to sea. I heard about one guy, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if anything's true or not. I heard about one guy who got pulled out, because his dog was out swimming, and then he started worrying about his dog, and then he went out to try to get his dog back, and he drowned. Unfortunately, it's not funny. He drowned and his dog came back. So should have just let his dog swim. But there's the famous cliff house up at the end, and I'm gonna walk up there. I'm gonna go up the hill. I'm gonna go hit that park up top, Citro Park. That is Citro Park is a special place for me. A lot of periods of my life. I used to like to go there when I was going to state and study. You know, I had a lot of reading and papers to write and stuff. And also my creative writing class, I would go there and write. And some of my best work. I remember I was sitting up there, I was writing a story for my creative writing class about substitute teaching in Los Angeles. I called it Subglut, because at the beginning of my substitute teaching foray in Los Angeles Unified School District, it was after 9/11, so I think a lot of people had lost their previous jobs and stuff, so they were just trying to do it. So there was a whole lot of people out there trying to be subs, and so it was kind of difficult to get a job. So after you got your certification and blah, 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 you got all squared away, did your week-long class, basically what they encouraged you to do was write a small resume, like maybe even a half page, and you would bring it to school offices where you thought you might want to teach, near your house or anywhere in the area, because you had to pick different areas where you would teach. So my area was like Hollywood, South LA. So I started walking around and driving around and going to different schools, and then you introduce yourself in the office and give them your little resume, and then they tell you, yeah, we'll call you, or they just give you a dirty look and throw it in the garbage. But I did it. I went to this one school. It was Audubon Middle School, and Thelma Greenaway was the office manager, administrator there, and she was awesome. Right off the bat, she just took to me, and they started calling. So I started going down to Audubon Middle School down on Crenshaw and off Crenshaw and King. It was I forget the exact street, but that school was very interesting. So anyway, yeah, I wrote about that. I thought it was kind of crazy. Like they always tell you, oh, we have this teacher shortage, and then you go do it, and they're like, we have too many teachers, you're never going to get a job. And but it worked out pretty good for me, because I went to the same school a lot. And as a sub, it can be kind of hard when you just first set foot in a school and none of the kids know you, and they all kind of push the limits. And in a place like South LA, pushing the limits can be pretty extreme. So but once you go to the same school, the kids get to know you a little bit. Mr. DePrima, Mr. DePrima, you need some Miracle Grow on your head. Oh, Mr. DePrima, you be going bald. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know, because I look so good from the front. But they're cruel kids. So now back to the beach. Oh my God, now that is litter. Someone just sent that thing right over. And what are they doing about it? So, what else happened? When you grow up here, like a normal person, I guess for me anyway, I wouldn't say I'm normal, but it was always like the ocean was like really cold and foreboding, and I guess I grew up with the natural aversion to water and swimming because I never learned how to swim well, and I was a sinker and not a floater. So I never really went in the ocean, but I was like going to the ocean, and that's what I did. Oh, he's singing a song for me. Sing. Oh, beautiful. Oh, nice. So my relationship to the ocean is sort of hi ocean, but it's not like really getting in it a lot. I mean, maybe wading and stuff. I never really actually jumped in the ocean and like swam or any of that stuff, boogie boarding, until I had a friend that I used to go down to San Diego with back in the mid 90s, and we went down there, and I got in the ocean there, you know, boogie boarded a little bit. What do you call it? Body surfing. You know, it's beautiful. But here, growing up here, never got in the ocean much, you know, and that was always a thing of when you go to Europe or anywhere foreign, you know, you tell people, oh, I'm from California, San Francisco, whatever, and they're like, they hear California, you go, oh, in Italy, they go, oh, fai surf? Tu fai surf? And you're like, no. They're like, oh, you know, and people like, everybody thinks automatically if you're from California, you're like a surfer. So, or back then they did anyway. And so I remember this one thing where when I was coming home from Europe the very first time, I'm gonna flip this thing. Now can I zoom in and out? Yes. So I was coming back from Europe for the first time. I'd spent 6 months in Europe about in 1990. I went on a study abroad program with City College of San Francisco to Florence. And so after the semester was over, you know, I did the whole thing where, you know, you get like a Euro pass and go travel around and stuff. And so my plan was, when I did it, was to like end up going around and then end up in England and then fly back from London. So by the time it was time for me to leave, I wasn't in London, I was in Amsterdam, because we had friends in Amsterdam. So I was staying with them. But I think I got sick. I had the kind of a flu or whatever. And when it was time for me to go, I took the train down to Calais, took the ferry over to Dover, and then went to Heathrow on the train. And at every point coming into England, I was being interrogated. Well, like, and then I went to the airport, and the security guy at the airport check-in started questioning me and asking me all these crazy questions, you know, oh, where were you coming from, who do you know, and the blah, how long do you know him, and all the terrorist questions. So he was interrogating me and searching my bag and asking me all these dumbass questions because he thought I was like some kind of a bomber or something. And then so what happened is I got to the gate, and then again at the gate, these two guys came along and like searched me again and like made me like take off my jacket, go through all my pockets and everything. And then I boarded the plane, and I didn't really think about it at the time because I was kind of naive and gullible. But so the guy that was seated next to me on the plane, I think he was like some kind of a cop or whatever, MI5 or something like that, because he was pretending to just be like a young guy who was traveling, but he was actually, well, the air marshal or something like that. And I really realized this, like, dawned on me like years later, because I just don't think like that, you know. But he was being sort of deceptive and pretending to be friendly and ask me about myself and everything. And I told him I was from, you know, California, San Francisco and stuff. And he's like, oh, do you surf? And I'm like, no, I don't really surf, you know. I like to go to the beach and stuff, but I'm not really into it, you know. And he's like all incredulous, like, well, if you're really from San Francisco, you know, or from California or whatever, you know, it's kind of strange that you don't surf, you know. It's kind of like this thing where, gotcha, you know, you couldn't possibly be from California if you don't surf. But so if that logic follows out, then there should be like 55 million people surfing right here, but there's not, because not everybody surfs, just like not everybody skis. So, because if everybody did, then it wouldn't be very much fun, because everybody would be out here doing it. So, people that are hardcore get out here, put on their wetsuits and do their thing, and more power to them. It just ain't my bag, you know. My bag is walking around and checking out the history. The history. Sorry. More people from other places acting like snobs. So, anyway, that's the story of my not surfing, and I'm gonna end up ascending. I will ascend on foot, and then I will either take the 38 back downtown, or I'll go walk back to the Judah. But some people are enjoying the foggy day on the beach, and it's kind of wild. There's sort of this sand dune has made itself a little valley here, a little hill and valley and hill. So all this atrocious housing. Here's more Golden Gate Parkage. Anyway, oh shit, a Chinese tour group. They're trying to see if they could see China on the other side. Oh yeah. So obviously, as many people know, if they watch this video, they can come on and tell me how stupid I am. But that all these houses is the site of the former amusement park, Playland at the beach, Playland by the beach. Anyway, I'm not old enough to have ever really experienced it. It closed when I was probably like 2 or 3, and I don't know if I was ever brought out here. By then it was kind of funky and defunct according to the accounts. But I remember when I was about 10, they had like a carnival out here where they were like, because these hadn't been built yet. It was just kind of empty. And they were like, it was like a Playland carnival type thing, but it wasn't like the permanent thing that they had, the Coney Islandish thing that they had before. So that was that. But you can see Playland in various films, of course. I think in Lady from Shanghai, I think the final sequence is at Playland by the beach. I'm not sure if they filmed on location. They have the fun mirror house and everything. And then the other one that again is supposed to be Playland by the beach, and I'm pretty sure it is the final sequence of another film noir called Lady on the Run. And that was a pretty good San Francisco film noir if you like to see old footage of the city and then walking around, and I mean not walking around, going around and everything. So that's fun. Life is fun. And so there was that. I'm fast approaching. You can see Sutro up there. Sutro is a great place to go, and on a sunny day or a foggy day, I guess, Sutro is a great place to go and enjoy a little picnic, enjoy a book, do some writing. It's a great place to go, find a secluded spot and practice some physical activity, like do your martial arts. I used to come out here and do my Wing Chun forms up there on the cliff somewhere where it's kind of secluded and you don't freak everyone out. But just anything. It's really a hidden gem, not really talked about enough. Now we're getting closer. You can bring that parapet wall into view up there. That's the remains of that was the foundation of the Sutro Mansion. And Sutro was a magnate and a mayor of San Francisco. He built a tunnel up at the silver mines to facilitate the extraction, expedite the extraction of the silver. And apparently he was a great mayor because he had a great sense. He had all these gardens up here. He had the big house and the gardens, and now this side of his house is a public park. And I'm not sure what's going on with the Cliff House now. If it's still closed, probably. This latest iteration is closed. I grew up with this sort of, I think it was about 40s or 50s iteration of it. And I used to love to take long bike rides all around the city. And this was definitely one of the spots where I'd ride out here where, you know, if I was living in the 8th, Mission, Excelsior, wherever I was living at the time. And I'd ride out here and I'd stop here, and they had the Musée Mécanique. It was at the bottom down there. And it was before all the cell phones and selfies and stuff. So I would go in the photo booth and take a bunch of pictures in the photo booth and send them in letters. Back when we had letters, people wrote letters to each other, and I used to like to write letters to my friends I'd met in Europe and stuff that basically I haven't really been in touch with. I mean, obviously I haven't really been writing many letters for about the last 30 years or so, but I used to a lot. And so I'd put in a little strip of pictures that I took at the photo booth for fun, making goofy faces. But I guess the Musée Mécanique is down at Fisherman's Wharf now, and at least it's still around. That's cool. I mean, actually, when I was in 8th grade, I was going to Sunset Community, which was a small private school. It was the second school I dropped out of in 8th grade, and it was over on Noriega, probably in the 20s, maybe almost to Sunset, maybe the 30th or so. But anyway, we would sometimes we would cut out and ditch school and take the bus down here and go to the arcade. And also with my other friends, when we were just out and about, we'd go to the arcade here and play video games. Back then, you still pretty much had to leave the house to play video games. I mean, you had Atari and Nintendo, but I don't really think they were the same quality as in the video arcade. So it was all about quarters. Spending quarters in the video arcade and playing video games and trying to get the high score and coming up with funny 3-letter acronyms so you could be the high score guy. So I think this is just a perfect day to be out. There's the beach patrol. They're the ones who go out there and save your life, or try to, when you end up too far out. So thank God for them. And I'm glad I came out here. I've been just pretty much doing the same thing over and over and over again, going to Chinatown, which is cool because every time you go somewhere or do something, like, it's a different experience anyway. It's not really the same thing. It's just the same place, and it's always a different experience. So today I thought, I'm gonna do something different. I had 5 hours off from noon to 5, like a sort of a split shift today. And so I thought, what should I do? Just go walk around Chinatown, North Beach, Nob Hill again. And I thought, nah, I'm gonna go somewhere different and just take the end to the end, the end to the end, and then walk around, And I'm gonna start back up in a minute.